Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Wednesday edition of the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience. And we are in the business of trying to demonstrate to many people that one of the best ways of living is to have at least an entrepreneurial way of thinking, if not perhaps an entrepreneurial way of doing. And we are convinced that the life of Jesus, not only in all of the capacities that he is honored and worshiped and served, are important. But it could also be that the way he built his own ministry, mission, organization is an entrepreneurial model for us all. Now, especially for those people who are followers, who are believers, but the very processes that he used were those of a man on earth who did not use his supernatural powers in any way in terms of business or entrepreneurial building. Nothing he did was to make money as today's entrepreneur would, but the very style of organizational, of leadership, of promotion, of attracting people, of making things work, he had not only a great human wisdom, he obviously was empowered by maybe a spiritual force and understanding. And maybe we can learn, no matter who you are, we can learn from the Jesus entrepreneur experience. And one of the ways we do that is to ask ourselves that question, which I've begun to talk to you about. If Jesus were here today, like we are here today, what would he do? How would he behave? How would he live? How would he treat others? What would he do that we could perhaps imitate, or at least try to discover and imitate, so that we could be more effective in life and business, particularly in the marketplace? Because that's the way our world works. That's the deal. To make it in life, we have to contribute something. We have to hopefully find ways that people will compensate us for what we do. We have to meet each other in the marketplace, and that's where we will make our living, how we will build our success, and how we will be successful in terms of living with. Now, not everybody can do that. They don't have the qualities to do so, and they are in different capacities. But many of us who are and have that aspiration, we can learn from that. Well, that's why we talked about, would he wear a tie? Would he join the IDF? That means, if he were called to be a soldier? Well, a number of people said, oh, if Jesus were an entrepreneur today, would he still be a carpenter or a handyman or a stonemason? Would he be a small business owner? Or what do you think he would be? Well, of course, we began to say, what would Jesus do if he were you? And so perhaps what you would say is, I'm a plumber, I'm an analyst, whatever your entrepreneurial work would be. What do you think Jesus would do, if he were you? With your gifts, your abilities, your interests, your passions. Obviously, it seems that he came into it and probably did what most men would do, particularly a young man, the firstborn. He followed in the career of his father, which is very, very common, even today. And of course, in earlier times, it was oftentimes that was exactly what happened almost all the time. The occupation was passed on from father to son to son to son to son. And that might be some guide for us. Well, that led to the question, which of course I was anticipating, and someone would say, well, would he be a tech entrepreneur? The guys who really make the big money. Would he be, like a Steve Jobs? Would he be like a Bill Gates? All of these people who we know are in the tech business, Uh, would he choose to be a tech entrepreneur? Wow. Well, what do you think? And then that led to the question which hit just this past week, where someone said, you know, do you think if he were here today, would he use AI? He said, Stan, we know you use it. We can see you use it. Sometimes you couldn't be that good, but obviously your robot did something to help you do some work better. Absolutely. No question about it. It's very helpful to me in many ways. However, I was also confronted today with the work of people who are saying they're scared of AI. Because here's where I do agree. It is going to have a far greater impact, particularly in the marketplace, than I think we now fully understand. In the next 3 years, there are going to be more significant changes, and that everybody's job in some way, everybody's career in some way may be affected by what's happening. And so part of what I'm trying to do is to not be afraid and not to be promoting, but using rightly and correctly what I'm learning about artificial intelligence, particularly in what I call the performance economy, and maybe even in the transformation economy. So what do you think? Would Jesus use artificial intelligence? Of course, we don't know. We may have no idea. But I think that poses a question which might be important. The problem is that if AI takes away a lot of jobs, and it will, what will happen to those people? What will happen to those people? Where will they go? What will they do? If AI does things where technology often goes, and that is to be used by people who do not mean good, who do not mean well, those kinds of technical things, obviously, he would have no part of anything that doesn't do people good, doesn't contribute to human flourishing. So here's where I'm at the moment. What I think he might do is he would watch it very carefully. But at the same time, he would be very much involved in skills and business where it truly is a human enterprise, where its survival, its marketplace position is not based solely on any technology or anything that works that way. I think he would be like he would be a craftsman, a maker, uh, a leader of people who do things that matter. Now, as people are now discovering, there's all kinds of things. And in my last talk, where I talked about the fact in many ways that what we all want to do, we want to know that we matter. I oftentimes say, remember, everybody is wearing a sign that says, please tell me I'm important. We were wired, I believe, emotionally, psychologically, and spiritually, very different from the other creatures. We were made very much to be people who do things that matter, that make a difference, that help other people. And you would not believe how important that can be, just to affirm that they matter. Now, the other day, we had a major blow up in an electrical transformer in our apartment complex. And so everything was down. And it's in the middle of the night by the time they even got it diagnosed. We were there. And so early in the morning, while they're still working on it, I went out, and there were 4 or 5 hard hat guys working hard. And I just simply said to them, and I said, you know what? You are the guys who make it possible for the lights to go back on. Think about it. All those other people, the big shots, the analysts, the managers, the executives, but you are the ones who make it work. I said, you are the guys who actually have ladders on your truck. And I always, whenever I see a truck with a ladder on it, I say, that's a man or a woman who does something that makes a difference. And by the way, climbing ladders is dangerous. It really is. And so I believe that what we will need to discover is ways that either in a vocational sense or a relational sense, an avocational, we have to increasingly help people find meaning and purpose in their life. I am now getting known by saying that if your business does not, your business does not actually contribute to human flourishing, maybe it's a racket. Now that shakes people up, because then we define and try and decide what it means to be a racket, and then what it means to not be a racket, and then to make it mean what it means to be something that really is a benevolence. It actually blesses people. It actually makes their life better. It helps them to go and grow and flourish. Does your business help people do that? Both for your colleagues and, of course, for your customers and clients, and maybe for your community. And as one person said, and maybe even for your opponents and occasional enemy, and even your competitors. One of my close friends in business said that he prays for his business. And then he said, and I also pray for my competitors, because I want them to flourish too. I want our industry to be so good that there's plenty of room for everybody. And there are responsibilities and things we can do and serve for everybody. Yes, everybody. Everybody. Treat every person you meet as if they were the most important person in the world. That's something I'm trying to live by. Everybody. It's got to be good for everybody. And I think that would be the Jesus memo. And I don't know. Of course, I don't know what Jesus would do with AI. That's silly. I think I know what he would do. First of all, he was wise, and he asked for good counsel, and he would read. And so he would study it. And right now, I've made a point that I've learned a lot about AI by doing it. And I can tell you, in some cases, it is amazing, scary amazing what it can do and how real it can seem. That is true. And those of you who've had some of those great experiences know what I'm talking about. So Jesus would really look into it. And one of the things I'm doing is I'm actually going through some of the people right now who are writing and thinking and telling us about the dangers of it and what we need to be aware of. that we should not accept it as just a great blessing or a great inevitability or something we must always adjust to. There are people who have serious challenges and charges against this phenomenon. And we should take the serious ones seriously. Jesus would do that. He would be a scholar. He would be someone who really knew what to do. But I do know what he would do is pray. He would pray for wisdom. He would pray about what to do with this great power. And he would be aware that great powers can be very perverted and have great power to do evil. He knows that things that are powerful can be used by evil people. So he would pray. He would pray a lot. It has even caused me to sometimes do this, that when I go in and give it a project, I've just whispered a word of prayer. Lord Jesus, what comes out, may it be good, may it be right, may it be helpful, may it be useful for everybody. And if it's not, delete it, get rid of it, don't do it. Jesus would pray a lot about the men and women who create it, about the men and women who use it, about the very qualities that it has, and obviously he'd pray for the people who will be affected by it. He'd study the deal, and he would pray for the deal, and he would pray for everybody. I'm Stan Hustad. I'd be glad to share some of my knowledge and help in teaching as a business performance coach. Reach out to me at stan@witradio.net, stan@witradio.net. Till next time, best and blessings to you, and bye for now.